Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. F1 2020 career season action. This weekend we have the Spanish Grand Prix. As you can see, first thing we're going to do is actually change our sponsor. I did really consider changing DBS Optics to another sponsor, but I felt like we do tend to achieve top 10 finishes during the race, and we've had them and I do like the look of their sponsor, so we're going to keep them. In terms of our development and what's going on whilst I put the sponsor back on the car, we have already had 2 major chassis upgrades come in. I did purchase 3 major chassis upgrades at one time. If you check out the last video in Vietnam, sorry, not in Vietnam, in Zandvoort, with 3 major chassis upgrades coming. Got 1 more major chassis upgrade to arrive, and it means our chassis has gone from the 2nd worst on the grid to, I believe, now the 3rd best on the grid. And that's why I really wanted to pump that money into that department. We're also going to do a bit of simulator training to up Pierre's experience stat. As you can see, if we look into the powertrain department, this is what I'm going to get next. I feel like that our powertrain is good because we have the Mercedes power unit, but if I don't develop it, it won't be any good. And I want to develop this and then eventually develop the ERS system so we get more use of our overtake button. I think that's a big play in us being quicker. We can use our overtake button more. And if we look at the chassis department, we're now the 4th best chassis on the whole grid, after going from 2nd bottom. So once I've done a bit more work on the power unit, and once I've done a little bit more work on the chassis, I'll then focus back to the aero department. I actually haven't really focused on aero much at all. I did in the first season a little bit, but not a lot. So hopefully we should be able to develop that part of our car in the next few episodes coming up. We don't have enough money to actually upgrade any of our facilities, but I do want to start saving up my money for Pierre's next contract, which I believe is at the end of June or early July. He's 7 million, so he's quite expensive now compared to our old teammates. So in terms of our development, we're all looking very good. Durability, I don't think will be much of an issue this season compared to last season. So that being said, if you look at our engines, sort of 60% wear, so we're going to keep all of our parts for this weekend so you get no penalties. That being said, I'm now going to jump into the race weekend, and I'll see you guys in qualifying.
System, so it's going to be a few minutes before we can get
so, as we can see straight away, our race engineer has just told us we actually have a brake system fault, which means I have to skip that time and wait in the pit lane for 7 minutes, which actually kind of hurts a little bit because I wanted to get out and put a banker lap in, but I have to wait. These things happen. You get faults in your car, you have to accept them and move on. So this weekend, Spain's a track which I'm not brilliant at. It's not one of my favourite circuits in the world, and I'm not overly that quick around this circuit, so I'm not really expecting anything more than a top. If I can get anything better than a top 7 finish, I'd be really happy with this weekend. Pierre in practice actually looks really quick as well. He was consistently in the top 10 throughout the whole of the practice session, so hopefully he can come away with some points this weekend. It would be really helpful if he can start getting points more consistently as our car is now beginning to develop a little bit more. As we start our first lap here in Q1, and we're now going to skip to the end of the lap. End our 2nd lap, and we go P16. So the first lap I actually set in Q1, guys, was a bit of a sloppy lap. It put me right at the back, and it wasn't very good. So I skipped to the end of the 2nd lap and the end of the 3rd lap, and the end of my 3rd lap was much better, and it put me P9. My first lap, I was just very cautious on the throttle. I didn't really make any mistakes. I was just very cautious on the throttle, which affected us a little bit. But we're safely through now to Q2. Pierre's also through to Q2 as well. So now we're in Q2 with the end of our first lap here, and we go P3 so far. Hamilton did do on the mediums, and we're now down to P7. We've got another lap to go, and we go P2. So that should safely see us through to Q3, hopefully. And hopefully Pierre can get through as well, which would be really good. As we look at the chart here, and yes, Pierre's P5. So only a 10th separating me and my teammates. So it's good to see. Valtteri's in P13. Valtteri Bottas didn't make it through. He tried getting through in the mediums and just... I don't know what's happened, but Valtteri Bottas is down in P13. He's not going to make it through, which makes the championship much tighter. And actually very interesting because the championship, Bottas was kind of building a lead over Lewis a little bit. So that's quite interesting to see. Anyway, we came across did our lap. We only had one lap in Q3. We only had one set of tyres. And it wasn't, again, it wasn't a bad lap. We go P7. Only 2 tenths between me and Gasly. Gasly's P10, but he got into Q3, which I'm quite happy about. So, going into the race, good chance of points here for the Morris Motorsport team, and I'll see you guys in the race.
During the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Vettel, Morris, and Ocon, Stroll, Gasly, Albon, and Lando Norris. Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty. Bottas, Daniel Kvyat, and Raikkonen, Leclerc, Grosjean, Sergio Perez, and Luca Giotto, Magnussen, Russell, Giovinazzi, and Nicolas
So,
Latifi.
looking at the starting grid, I qualified 7th, and I'm starting 5th because Verstappen and Gasly both have penalties. Sorry, Verstappen and Leclerc both have penalties. So I'm starting P5, so we have a very good chance, not on a podium at all, but we've got a very good chance of maybe getting a top 5 finish. Are we starting P5 or P6? We're starting P5, so good start possibly here. We need a good start off the line. Lights out, and away we go. We get a good start here. We try and get in between Vettel and Carlos Sainz. We put the overtake button on, and just see how much faster everybody else is. I've got my overtake button on and Rich Mix, and I'm not even barely able to keep up with these guys. Get down the inside of Vettel into turn 1. Vettel just squeezes us out, so we're going to move out to the outside. We go a couple of corners later, and Vettel did squeeze us out, so we have to stay behind Sebastian. So we don't lose anything on the first lap. We don't gain anything. So we're still P5. I just couldn't quite hold the move to Vettel around the outside. I feel like that Ferrari and Carlos Sainz, they're all just going to move away from us towards the end of the race. I don't think we're going to keep up with them. So my race really is going to be trying to keep Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon behind me. If I can stay P5, it would be a very good result for our team. I skipped to lap 5 for my pit stop lap. The reason why I skipped this far is because literally nothing happened. Stroll and Ocon never made an attempt to pass me, so I thought I would skip to the pit stops. We come in for our stop now. Let's have a good start from the Morris Motorsport crew. Ooh, 2.2. My crew is getting a little bit quicker now. We are tending to get some better stops from these guys. Hamilton's on hard tyres, very interesting to see. And Verstappen's also on hard, so you do have to watch out for Verstappen and Charles Leclerc possibly, because they started further back, but their cars are much quicker than ours. So, although they started further back, I'm going to watch out for them coming through during the race. This lap I'm setting now, I'm using up a lot of my overtake, just because I don't want Lance Stroll to jump me during these pit stops. I feel like if I don't put in a good lap here, he could jump me because he was right behind me. I feel like I was holding him up, so I don't want him. He's now got clean air, so I really need a good out lap here so he can stay ahead of him. This section's really difficult on this track. It's almost keep your foot to the floor, but don't spin the car. It's weird being down in P20 first, I'll be honest, or P21. Not often I'm down this low, but it's because I have pitted a lap earlier than the majority of people would have pitted. So we do have a 6-second gap to Lewis. We've only got 6 seconds off the lead effectively. Gasly's now in for a stop.
Pierre is in the pits.
Let's see if we do come out ahead of Lance Stroll. We don't quite judge that corner right. I felt like the car wouldn't turn in, so I had to cut the corner there a little bit, which gave us a warning, which isn't very good. You can see Bottas and Leclerc in the pit lane. Gasly have overtaken him. Stroll have overtaken him as well. So we've actually gained time in the pit stops. We're actually quite a bit ahead of Stroll now. I've only got 2.5 seconds to Vettel as well. Bear in mind we had like a 3-second gap when we came into the pits. So everything so far is looking pretty good. Let's skip to lap 13 now. You can see Vettel pulled away from us. So what happened with Vettel? I got within 1.3 seconds, Sebastian. But I ran out of ERS and I ran out of fuel. So what I did for the next 3 or 4 laps, I actually saved my ERS for this exact situation where Lance Stroll's going to try and attack us. So I thought, Stroll's going to catch me eventually, and if I have no ERS or Rich Mix to defend with, I'm just going to get overtaken because his car's quicker than us in a straight line, and they got all round a faster car. So I felt like I needed to save up something to fight with. So I did that, and turns out at the moment we are still in P5. Pierre Gasly, I believe, is in P10. But I believe he's got Charles Leclerc hunting him down, so whether Gasly will be able to stay in P10, I'm not sure. He hasn't had the best race. He did start in P8, but Verstappen in the Verstappen, Bottas and Leclerc all starting behind Gasly. Just, it would have done very well to keep those guys behind. So We come to lap 16 now, and this is the only chance that Stroll's actually had pretty much all racing being getting past. He's actually ahead of us here. We have to go around the outside around this corner. We do bump side pods a little bit. We get around the outside of him, and we do manage to stay in front. I believe Pierre has actually conceded a place to Leclerc, and he has. So Pierre's now in P11, so I don't think we're going to get any points from our teammate this weekend. A shame, but we've really got to focus on maybe trying to keep Lance Stroll behind. He's just gaining on us ever so slightly. I'm glad I said it on my ERS, but I'm going to have to use it to keep him behind us. We come to the end of the last lap, and we've got a 1 second gap to Stroll, so we are going to come across the line, and we're going to take P5 here at the Spanish Grand Prix.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
So P5 here the weekend, not a bad race from us at all. We sort of managed the tyres quite well. Leclerc gets driver of the day, not surprised after his comeback drive. So yeah, in total, it was a very good race from us. If you guys want to see some longer races, like if you want to see me start doing maybe 50% races instead of 25%, then please do let me know down in the comment section. I feel like these races are very good, but in circuits like this where I have nothing to do, where I'm just defending and no drivers are really trying to overtake us, it's not a lot for me to, it's not a lot of action for me to show you guys. So if you want to see some more races or 50% races where the strategy will come into play, then let me know down in the comment section. But overall, good weekend from us. It's a shame that Gasly couldn't get any points. It was always going to be difficult with him, with Verstappen, Bottas and Leclerc all behind him. So tough one to swallow. In regards to the standings now, I get 10 points for that this weekend, so not bad. If we look at the driver standings, I'm still in P4. Verstappen's pulling away from us. But looking at the constructors, Renault overtake us, so us, Renault, Ferrari and Racing Point are all very close. Anyway, thank you very much guys for watching. If you did enjoy, smash that button, and I'll see you next time.